Greetings, future scientists. In this lesson, we are going to learn about climate change. You've probably heard a lot about climate change either in school, on news websites, or on television. Scientists believe that climate change is real and that it is caused in part by human activity. They also believe it may have many serious and potentially damaging effects to our environment in the decades ahead. So what is climate change and what are its possible impacts on our lives and the world around us? In this lesson, we are going to learn the difference between climate and weather, the meaning of the greenhouse effect and what causes it, and the impacts of a changing climate. What is the difference between climate and weather? Well, weather refers to the state of our atmosphere on any given day or over several days. It includes lots of things we are familiar with: temperature, rain, snow, humidity, and wind. Now, climate, by contrast, refers to the measurement of weather over long periods of time, at least several decades. It refers to the long-term average and other measurements of all the day's weather combined. Say, for example, you were going to visit South Florida for a few days in April. You would expect it to be sunny and pleasant because that's what the climate of South Florida is usually like in April. But it might turn out to be sunny during your trip, or it could rain, or be cloudy, chilly, or hot. All of those are examples of possible weather during those few days. Here's a simple way to think about it. Climate is what you expect to happen, but weather is what you get. And those might be very different. Changes to the climate system, however, are observed at a global scale. Changes in things like air temperature, sea level, the temperature of the ocean, and the amount of water in the atmosphere are all examples of changes to climate. Now that we understand the difference between climate and weather, let's look at some things that affect climate and a phenomenon known as the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is caused by greenhouse gases. Up until about 150 years ago, human activity did not produce many greenhouse gases, but that changed with the advent of important inventions and machines like electricity and transforming the way that we live. All these inventions demand energy. Burning fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas, has become an important source of that energy. Burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide and other gases into the atmosphere. The greenhouse effect occurs when too many greenhouse gases are trapped in our atmosphere, making the Earth's surface hotter than it should be. Here's how it works. First, light from the sun passes through the atmosphere and is absorbed by the Earth's surface, making it warm. Heat radiation, or infrared radiation, travels from Earth back to outer space. Most of the infrared radiation escapes from the atmosphere, allowing the Earth to cool. Gases in the atmosphere, like carbon dioxide, act like a blanket, trapping heat near the surface of the Earth, raising the temperature of the atmosphere. This is part of a natural process that warms the planet so that it can sustain life. But human activities are increasing the amount of greenhouse gases and trapping more heat. Although plants and the ocean absorb carbon dioxide, they can't keep up with all the extra CO2. So as CO2 in the atmosphere increases over time, more and more heat is building up in the Earth's atmosphere, raising the temperature of the air and the oceans. So what are the effects of a changing climate, caused in some part by human activity and the greenhouse effect? Some scientists have attributed changes such as an increase in extreme heat waves, unusually intense storms, including hurricanes, a rise in the sea level, frequent wildfires, and extreme drought as some of the effects of a changing climate. Rising global temperatures threaten human health, agriculture and food, our water supply, transportation, energy, ecosystems, and more, and are expected to become increasingly disruptive throughout this century and beyond. We can expect increases in rain, more droughts and heat waves, and stronger, more intense hurricanes. As the oceans warm and polar ice melt, sea levels are rising, endangering life along coastal areas. Longer, more intense droughts threaten crops, wildlife, and freshwater supplies. From polar bears in the Arctic to marine turtles off the coast of Africa, our planet's diversity of life is at risk from the changing climate. Let's review what we've learned. What is climate change and what are its possible impacts? First, remember that weather and climate are not the same thing. Weather changes from day to day, while climate is the average of weather characteristics over a long period of time. Remember, too, that the greenhouse effect occurs when greenhouse gases are trapped in our atmosphere and can cause global temperatures to rise. Finally, the impacts of a changing climate include threats to human health, increased risks of extreme weather, and threats to wildlife and ecosystems.